Hi, I'm Dranitsaris, and welcome to Fearless Friday's Power Up Tips. Today I'm going to give you some tips on how to deal with that nasty, covert, narcissistic behavior and manipulation that some people automatically resort to, even for the slightest things that we might say and do to them. It seems to come out of nowhere. This type of reactiveness that people have where they immediately feel threatened. Their threat level is so high that they automatically react as though you're doing something to them when it might be something as simple as a question about, where they bought whatever it is they're wearing. They might take it personally as though you're saying that you don't like it or that it looks cheap. We all know those people who tend to manipulate automatically and very unconsciously situations that convert them into a victim. The victim, and you're the victimizer. So it's understanding that these self-protective strategies, they come naturally because the person hasn't grown out of a deep wound in themselves, a wound that's been with them throughout their life, and it's become so natural for them to behave this way that they believe that that's who they are. It isn't who they are, and we don't have to tolerate that type of behavior from others because, hey, at the end of the day, who wants to be called a villain when you might just be trying to give them a compliment or somehow be helpful to them, and you're accused of thinking that they're not competent enough to do whatever it is you're asking or offering help for? As Heather talked about in our Wednesday workshop this week, covert and overt narcissists are very different, and covert narcissism is more difficult to recognize immediately, but we know it because we feel that pull. It's sort of like it's pulling us and it's activating our own threat mechanisms in our body. Because at the end of the day, the narcissistic intention is to protect the image that they have of themselves at all costs. And covert narcissists tend to be perfectionists. They believe that they are perfect and everybody should see them in the perfect way that they're presenting themselves, which is often, I am perfect because I'm ever so sweet and kind and lovely and helpful to everybody. But these are the people that also we tend to walk on eggshells around because they can cry at the drop of a hat. And another way that we know that we're dealing with a covert narcissist is that they self-refer. One of my favorite things to watch in conversations where you say something about yourself and immediately the other person is saying something about them as though they have no space to hold whatever it is you're talking about. Narcissism is with us. It is with us in everyday life, and it's in all of us, this narcissistic wound that to some degree or another we've experienced. Some shaming done to ourselves in childhood, some pain that we experienced, that we were told that there was something wrong with us or made to feel that way. And we carry that wound through life, continuously protecting it. And so the first step and the first tip I have for all of you is to recognize it in yourself. That recognizing that we can all be triggered into self-protective behaviors, and being triggered means that you take something personally, that you immediately think that somebody is devaluing you when they're not. That if you're excluded, for example, in a conversation where somebody doesn't recognize that you've done something that someone else has done, that they are meaning to exclude you and not just they're forgetful, you see, because most people's behavior is actually about them and it's not about us. So recognize for yourself with other people when you are being pulled in. You have to be connected to your feelings so that you can feel that shift inside of you, where it's like when I experience, it's like uh-oh, what's going on here? Something's going on. I don't know. The other person's, winding up. The other person has been triggered, and I'm feeling that trigger. And so you can feel the pull to either self-protectively make it better for them, make sure that they know that I didn't mean anything, or I wasn't meaning to be hurtful. Or I can go the other way and just watch where they're going to go with it. Because ultimately, it is the other person's responsibility to manage their own reactions and inquire, did you mean to hurt me? Did you mean to exclude me? This is something that we can do in conversations as well when we find ourselves feeling hurt or triggered by somebody else's behavior. We always have a choice to decide. We're responsible for ourselves and our own triggers, but we're not responsible for the behavior of others. The final thing is to understand really that they've gone into a self-protective position, and by you getting defensive and you trying to explain or defend or tell them they're wrong or tell them, the way it really is you can end up spending hours in a conversation. Because what a covert narcissist will do is they will bring up past slights and injustices and pile them on, because they're out to prove that you're bad and you're a victimizer and that you need to apologize. And your desire to make sure they understand that you're not that way can put you in an opposing position where it undoes the relationship in some way. It harms the relationship because somebody has to give in. One person wins, the other person loses, and the dance will continue. So until next time, be mindful of your own triggers and reactions, because it all starts with us. We do not have to be triggered by narcissists, but if we are, it's up to us to manage ourselves and our own behavior, because if they pull us in, that's on us. It is not on them. Bye for now.